Gary is with us in Seattle. Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing well.
Good. What's up?
So I own a dewatering company, which is a specialty contracting business, and have about 12 employees, and I'm the 49% owner, and my father owns 51%.
Okay.
Okay. We do about $3 million annually, and this is a 15-year-old success story. We started from ashes in 2009, and here we are, and we're doing really well. But my problem is that over the last 5 years, in 2019, I tried to buy my dad out, and it didn't work. And we've been very successful since then. However, my dad doesn't participate in the business. He just rakes in all the money. So he takes about $20,000 a month, and so do I. And then we split it at the end of the year if we have any profits. The problem is I've come to the end of my rope on allowing him to continue to take when I feel like I can't grow my business because all of my profits, or a lot of them, are going to my father, who doesn't participate.
Okay. There's 2 or 3 elements to this process. The first thing is we need to break apart the idea of ownership and working at the company. You can be an owner of a company and not work there.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be a member of the family and not work there and not be an owner. So in family business, the famous family business guy that wrote probably some of the books the longest ago is a guy named John Ward out of, I believe it's Minnesota, if I remember. Anyway, John put together the Venn diagram that a lot of people use, and it's got 3 circles. One circle is family, one is owner, and one is team member or employee, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can be all 3 of those, which would be where the 3 circles intersect on the Venn diagram, if you can see that in your mind. Or you could be 2 of those. You can be a family member, an owner, but not an employee. You can be, in your case, you're all 3, okay? And your dad is just an owner and a family member, but not an employee. So when you break that apart, then you go, okay, owners get distributions of profit. So where your all's model is broken is that Gary is not being paid a salary for being the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
You should be getting, on a $3 million business, a couple of $100,000 a year salary before we talk about splitting up profits.
Mm-hmm. And I do get that, but he also gets it too. So basically,
well, that's not. He doesn't get a salary. He doesn't work there.
Right now he does, though. My point is
I know.
That's the problem.
That has to stop.
Yeah.
That has to stop. We're not going to pay someone a salary that doesn't work in the business. Now, they can get distribution of profits after the salaries are paid. So he should get, so let's say, what is your, do you have a salary plus the $20,000 a month?
No, we just call it a
that's what I'm
draw.
talking about. You just call it. You've completely screwed this up. So that's where the problem's coming in. So you need to get on the payroll of the company as the CEO and president of the company, and the payroll needs to pay you $250,000 a year.
Yep.
Okay. Then what is left after the CEO is paid is called profit. And the profit can be distributed not to the employees, but to the owners, of which your dad would get 51% of the profits that are distributed, and you would get 49% after the CEO is paid. That's how this should be set up.
I agree.
Now, once it's set up that way, then you could still have the complaint that your dad won't let you buy you out, and that's another discussion.
As a matter of fact, I just got the business valuated. I haven't got the number yet, but that is my next move, is to get him to the table and buy him out.
Yep.
And tell him that I've been awful nice, letting him basically,
No, that's not going to do any good at all. Your dad doesn't feel like you've been awful nice. And you saying that is not going to do anything but rile him up, dude.
True.
Okay. It makes you feel better, but it's not going. What are you trying to accomplish here? Rile him up, or are you trying to get the deal done?
I want the deal done.
All right, then quit riling him up. Quit whining. All right, so sit down with him and just say, look, you're an incredible businessman. You and I built this thing from the ashes, and now you want to be at home, and I have to, for the sake of my manhood, for the sake of my dignity, I have to be running this thing now, and I have to work out something to buy you out. I can't do it this way anymore. I want to honor you. You're one of the founders. You helped me get here. You taught me what I know, and I want to honor you, but I can't go forward with this anymore, Dad. So help me figure out a way that I can buy you out in a way that makes you smile, and that does not violate me in the process. And let's sit down and talk about that, and not go, I've been doing you a big favor and it's over. That doesn't work, man.
Understood. Now, I have
it wouldn't work with you if I did it to you.
Right. I agree. Now, I went and hired an M&A attorney, but this time, compared to last time 5 years ago, this time we hired them together. See, and I think that's the key to me buying them out is there is no Gary's attorney or David's attorney. It's our attorney, and he's got our best interest to get across the line.
We need a cup of coffee. We don't need an attorney. You can have an attorney teach you how to put it together, but if you got to have an attorney do the negotiation, you're already screwed.
Yeah.
So the two of you ought to be able to sit down, father and son, man to man, and say, this is how this is going to happen, and then you call the attorney and tell him what to do.
Yeah.
Attorneys are employees. They don't drive the bus. Y'all got to drive the bus on this. Now, the good news is you don't have two different attorneys, to your point, talking at each other, trying to represent you two who should have sat down over a cup of coffee and battled this out. Dad, look, here's the thing. We got to look at this. Now, how you want to work this through? We got to work this through, and then we're going to tell this attorney how to put it together. All right? And if he can advise you on some possible structures, well, that's okay. I don't mind that. But this attorney's not in charge. You and your dad are. And believe me, some of them think they're in charge. So we got to get rid of that problem too. But yeah, I think it's a good sign. I agree with you that you both agreed on someone to look at a merger or an acquisition. But it's a $3 million company. We don't need to spend a ton of money on attorney fees to transfer this thing. It should not be that complicated or that difficult. But y'all sit down and work on it together. And I can't go forward this way. And but for those of you out there listening, the way you don't get to this point is you do two things in your succession and transition plans when you're in the legacy phase of your business, the last phase, which is where Gary's dad is. Okay, number one, you lay out a clear succession plan, transition plan, and here's how it's going to go down. And here's who's going to end up for it with it. Here's how it's going to be paid for. Here's how it's not going to work. Here's how it is going to work. And then two, you have to do what we talked about there with the Venn diagram. You keep the ownership portion of the business separate from the employment of the business. Now that, so for instance, my son Daniel works here. We mentioned that a minute ago. He is paid as the president. His sister Rachel works here as a personality. She is paid like the other Ramsey personalities. The same percentage on book sales, the same percentage on speaking fees, and so on. So she gets paid there. However, both of them are owners of this company. They also get money as owners from the profits. That has nothing to do with them working here. That's a separate issue. So owners can be absentee owners or they can be on-site owners. Both are owners. Stockholders in publicly traded companies, none of them are on-site. You own a share of Home Depot, you don't work for Home Depot, but you're going to be distributed some of the profits in the form of dividends, assuming Home Depot did a dividend distribution. But anyway, that's how that works. So that's what Gary was running into. So you start with that, and you start with a succession plan, a transition plan, and then you don't get all the way up to, I've had it, I'm sick of this guy milking the business, and this guy is my dad, and you keep from getting there by laying this out in a much smoother, gentler grade on the transition.